Sikhs For Justice. It's a name you may have heard many times on this show. India has banned this organization. It's been declared a terrorist group. But for Canada, SFJ or Sikhs For Justice is an activist agency. One that has ties to the Prime Minister's office. And we are not the ones saying it. Their leader, Gurpatwant Singh Pannu, admitted it.
Sikhs For Justice have been communicating with the Prime Minister's office for the last 2 to 3 years, detailing all the spy network.
So Pannu and Trudeau have been in talks, that too for nearly 3 years. But what is the true face of this so-called advocacy group? Why doesn't Canada ban it? First, let's take a closer look at their laws. How does Canada list terrorist groups? Based on 2 criteria. 1, carrying out, attempting to carry out, or facilitating terrorist activity. And 2, knowingly acting on behalf of or helping a terrorist group. It's pretty broad criteria. Canada has used it to ban 78 groups so far. But the question is, does Sikhs For Justice fit the bill? In India, it certainly did. Just look at some of their cases. In 2018, 2 radicals put liquor shops on fire in Punjab. They turned out to be SFJ operatives, radicalized and trained by the likes of Pannu. The same year, 2 more operatives were arrested. They had pasted Khalistani referendum posters in Amritsar. What's more, they had procured weapons. In 2019, 3 more SFJ henchmen were arrested. 2 guns were recovered from them. Their aim was to kill political leaders. Now, these are the cases in India. The government has also compiled instances abroad. In 2018, a Sikh leader from Delhi visited the US. There, he was attacked by SFJ operatives. 2 of them were later detained by American agencies. Now, these are examples of direct violence. We also have glorification. Take a look at this SFJ poster from 2019. It promoted the so-called Khalistani referendum. And who do you see in that picture? Talvinder Singh Parmar, the mastermind of the 1985 Air India bombing, the worst terror attack on Canadian soil, the worst in Canadian history. Look at how SFJ describes the man who plotted it as Shaheed or martyr. Even the SFJ campaign headquarters was named after Parmar. Does this sound like an advocacy group to you? Or does it sound like a terrorist group? The fact is, violence is a big part of SFJ's campaigns. They have openly threatened Canadian lawmakers, that too of Trudeau's own party. One of them is Chandra Arya. He had condemned the vandalism at Canadian Hindu temples. Look at how Pannu reacted to him.
The likes of Arya and his supporters, you have no place in Canada because you are working against the Canadian values, you are working against the Charter of Rights, and you are promoting the interest of your masters, India. You all must abandon your citizenship and move back to your motherland, India.
Imagine the audacity. He's asking an elected Canadian lawmaker to leave the country to go back to India, yet Justin Trudeau does nothing. Instead of cracking down, he stays in contact with Pannu. This is the same Trudeau who talks about protecting ordinary citizens of Canada. But he can't defend his MP. Now we get the logistical issue here. Pannu is based in the United States, so is most of the SFJ leadership and volunteers. So why should Canada ban it? To answer that, we must look at the other groups that Canada has listed as terror groups, like the Russian Imperial Movement. It's a neo-Nazi group based in Russia. There is no history of them attacking Canada, but it has been listed as a terror group by the Canadian government. Another example is Sami Duon. It's a Palestinian group. Their main goal is to release jailed Palestinians from Israel, but Canada says these prisoners are linked to terrorists. That's the official reason, but the ban came a week after this group organized Gaza protests in Canada. Their supporters burned the Canadian flag, so Trudeau decided to ban them. A third example is the Proud Boys, a neo-Nazi group based in the US. Canada banned them in 2021 after the US Capitol riots. Now, don't get us wrong, all these groups deserve to be banned, but Canada's reasons were quite flimsy. So if these groups can be banned, why not Sikhs For Justice? In fact, they had plenty of premise to do so. In 2018, Canada's government released a threat report. For the first time, they mentioned Sikh extremism. Guess who stepped in? Gurpatwant Singh Pannu. He accused Justin Trudeau of labeling Sikhs as terrorists. of using them as vote banks. And what did Prime Minister Trudeau do? He published an updated report in 2019, and this one, of course, did not mention Sikh extremism or Khalistani at all. So my point is quite simple. Canadian laws do allow for Trudeau to ban SFJ. According to the laws, the group does qualify as a terrorist group, but what comes in the way is Trudeau's politics. Now we have confirmation that Pannu was in contact with Trudeau. Who knows, maybe this is just the tip of the iceberg. Maybe the links run a lot deeper.
Firstpost decodes the U.S. election. Explains how America chooses its president. Your primer on the race to the White House. Everything you need to know about how America votes and its global implications. U.S. Election Explained. Every Monday and Thursday only on Firstpost.